Welcome, I'm Maverick with OwlKnightsMedia, and I'll be reviewing Skul, the Hero Slayer. As a working adult and casual gamer, I review games to determine if they are a good fit for similar gamers, but this review should be suitable for all audiences. As an overview, Skul is a 2D roguelike action platformer game with an unlockable base-bound set of NPCs and a plethora of equipment-based fighting styles. It features a skeleton named Skul, a small hero trying to rescue the Demon King from the human heroes. The character sprites and settings draw inspiration from traditional pixel-based computer games with a modern touch. Skul the Hero Slayer was developed by SouthPAW Games and was originally released on January 20th, 2021, and has regular patches released. Case in point, an additional Skul called the Dominator was slotted for April 4th, 2024. The game itself was celebrated by the community and won Best Indie Game in Korea of 2020. It still boasts over 90% very positive ratings on Steam. In terms of payment, Skul operates under the traditional buy once and play forever model. You can buy a physical or digital version, and there are often discount sales across all the platforms. Skul has two notable versions: the standard edition, which retails currently around 20 USD, and a mythology pack that retails around 4 USD. The pack includes a few new skulls and several new items. I personally didn't get it, but it was certainly affordable, and it's worth noting that I played this game for free as part of the PlayStation Plus membership monthly lineup for April of 2024. Speaking of platforms, you can find Skul the Hero Slayer on PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, Xbox, and most computer stores such as Steam and the Epic Games Store. I played the game while on the PS5, but its platformer style and 2D nature give me confidence it will be an excellent contender for those that prefer the portability of a Nintendo Switch. As for multiplayer options, Skul is a single-player experience, and given its fast and unforgiving boss battles, I can't actually imagine wanting to play it in a multiplayer setting anyway. I feel that way about most roguelike games. Speaking of game, let's talk a bit about the gameplay. The core loop involves exploring procedurally generated platform dungeons, which are themed in a per-story chapter manner. Skul will start with some assistance from a cat transforming witch, and eventually you unlock more NPCs that lend aid to his next run through the dungeons. A central focus of the gameplay is that Skul can remove his head and replace it with another Skul, which changes his skill sets and attack patterns. Naturally, as a roguelike, the player's going to die. In fact, you will die a ton. Each run through, you will earn practical experience, but you'll also earn an in-game currency that is used to unlock combat capabilities such as more health and more damage to assist you on your further runs. The graphics and sound are stereotypical for an indie title. The majority of the game assets are 2D sprite animations with text-based dialogue. There are a few voice cutscenes in what I believe to be Korean based on the developers being in Seoul, but they're few and far between. Graphics are simplistic, but the animations are excellent and the aesthetic of each different Skul you can equip is unique, with visible variations as they power up. I often elected to play the Mage Skul class, and its progression really gives a good impression of going from "I wear a robe" to "I am an Orc Mage, capable of great magic." As for the sound, there is a solid soundtrack with over 20 songs across the various stages. The sound effects all feel appropriate to the animations and to the attacks. Granted, it's easy to lose the nuances of both the animations and their sound effects in the flurry of panic-inducing combat. As for gameplay mechanics, the controls feel solid and the menu systems were simplistic. In fact, the game oversimplifies the user interface a bit too much. The game really could have benefited from some tutorials in the menu system, and I also would have liked to see some form of enemy catalog that reviewed attack patterns you've seen. The game is hard enough, and having a system that relies entirely on recent memory felt a bit too retro for my tastes. At its core, combat involves having 2 of the dozens of equipable Skuls for each dungeon dive. Being both lucky and strategic in your choice of Skul helps the player progress on any given run. Each stage layout is randomly generated, but the chapters have a finite array of enemies, traps, and bosses. Further, the player can equip up to 9 items and 1 quintessence stone each run. The stone basically just unlocks a third ability slot, and the items augment the player's stats. As an extra layer of RNG, the items have two traits that are not always the same and interact with each other in a complete the set type way. In short, the game is designed to be random in a manner that feels at times punishing and at times rewarding. My personal experience is that I had fun playing the game, and the rogue loop is addictive. Still, I can't recommend the game to casual players, despite it auto-saving on each level and being very pick-up-and-go friendly in theory. The main reason I cannot recommend it is because it falls too heavily and too squarely into its game genre of roguelike. It brings a neat spin in the form of equipable skulls, but once that luster is gone, it offers nothing outside the norm for that genre. Don't get me wrong, it is a very good game, but for the players who don't already enjoy the death loop of roguelites, you'll find little else to enjoy. There are less punishing platformers that still reward skill and dedication without all the randomness. If, however, you already enjoy or want to try a roguelike, Skul is an excellent indie game worth your time. In summary, Skul offers a fun and cute alternative to the genre. It's ill-suited to casual gameplay and noticeably lacks in tutorials, but it has an enjoyable, fast-paced combat with smooth animations and controls. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more casual gamer reviews, or visit our website at OwlKnightsMedia.com. Thank you.